What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. Now, undoubtedly, the wheels of pre-production have started turning in full over at Marvel Studios for director Taika Waititi and his eagerly anticipated follow-up to Thor Ragnarok, Love and Thunder. And in just the last week alone, major confirmations coming from the actors, Tessa Thompson confirming Christian Bale as the main villain, and then just 2 days later, Vin Diesel confirming some of the Guardians of the Galaxy's involvement with the project, including his very own Groot. And now we have an absolutely insane leak coming from a trusted industry insider saying that the Thor Corps will actually make a full appearance in the film. We're going to break down where this leak's coming from, what it means in context for what we already know about Thor, Love and Thunder, how it sort of ties to and clarifies what Vin Diesel was talking about in Alpha Groot, how it could lead to the introduction of a first X-Men like Storm, and how Marvel Studios is clearly paving the way to this through Marvel Phase 4 directly tied to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like I said, we're going to break it all down, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, as well as a whole slew of other Marvel related stuff, including a limited edition Infinity Saga box set. If you want to be entered to win, all you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video, we'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So quickly, the normal and obligatory spoiler warning. Remember to take everything posted anonymously or not officially announced from Marvel with a grain of salt, but of course this could contain some very real plot elements for the upcoming Thor Love and Thunder. If that's in some way going to ruin your experience, you've been warned. Now, in a tweet yesterday from industry insider Roger Wardell, and there was some confusion initially as to whether this was officially his account or not, as it seems to be a secondary account, he posted a version of Thor Corps will make its way into upcoming Thor 4. Notable members of the team will include Beta Ray Bill, Dargo Couture, Thunderstrike, Simon Walterson, Throg, Groot, Gamora, Sif, Angela, and Storm. Roger Norvell, character to appear in New Asgard at MCU at Phase 4. And again, this isn't Roger Wardell's official account, just assumed to be him on a secondary one. Now, there's a lot of ways to approach this leak, including all of the past Easter eggs for some of these iterations of Thor, and we're going to get to them. But I couldn't help but think about what Vin Diesel had just said, that there would be a couple of characters from Guardians of the Galaxy involved with the script, and that when it came to Groot, he only had 2 words for that character: Alpha Groot. At the time, I argued it was going to be a complicated and dense script already for Taika Waititi to try to work major arcs in for the Guardians of the Galaxy, and if they would feature, perhaps it would only be in sort of an introduction, some sort of intro, so that the audience wasn't left wondering what had happened with Thor taking off with Guardians of the Galaxy. It could be the case that he meant, though, that Groot and Gamora will be involved, and when he said Alpha Groot, that's what he meant, that we're going to get to see Groot as Thor as part of the Thor Corps. It would also explain Gamora's involvement as well, and them not having to have a full through arc, but rather be part of the Thor Corps that show up from the multiverse. Speaking of which, it would have been easy to dismiss this plotline as ridiculous if we didn't have the Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness film being released right before it. And you have to think about it, by the time we see Thor Love and Thunder, we will have seen WandaVision, Loki, the story culminating in Doctor Strange 2, and hopefully by that point, and with some success, they will have explained how the multiverse works in the context of the 616 and even possibly how to traverse it. By that point, if the Thor Corps shows up via the multiverse, we won't have many questions, and Taika Waititi won't have the laborious job of having to explain all of that. It will have been set up for him already, only adding to the plausibility of this storyline. And then there's Taika Waititi's penchant for Easter eggs leading to other Thors, and we've learned this from his previous installment in Thor Ragnarok 2, to be specific, with the intro scene of Thor carrying around an umbrella disguised as Mjolnir and using it to change into his Thor costume. That's a reference directly to the Donald Blake version of Thor, and there's also the version of Throg that's mentioned in this leak that Taika Waititi left an Easter egg for during Thor Ragnarok, when in this play, Matt Damon as Loki says, "I'm sorry about that time I turned you into a frog." And it's not the only Easter eggs for other versions of Thor or Thor Corps members. In fact, that scene during Infinity War where Groot supplies the handle for Stormbreaker by using his arm could be interpreted as a Thor Corps Easter egg as well. And of course, when you think of Stormbreaker, no other character comes to mind than Beta Ray Bill. Now, as I've argued earlier in this video and a couple of other exposés in the last week regarding Thor 4 Love and Thunder, the storyline is going to be very dense. just for the arc and Thor himself, and Jane Foster as Lady Thor with the inclusion of her cancer arc and what we expect from a follow-up in Valkyrie, it's going to be very hard to forge any other major storylines, including the introduction and the anointment of Beta Ray Bill, unless it plays directly into what's happening. And what better way to do it than to piggyback off of the explainer of the multiverse that they're going to spend 2 full TV series in WandaVision and Loki, and then a full feature film in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness explaining. That frees them up to use it and not have to spend any screen time, as the audience will already understand how all this works. Entrance, the Thor Corps. Now there's a ton of crazy members of Thor Corps, including the ones that were enumerated in that tweet, but maybe none other as interesting as the introduction of Storm Thor. Now if you guys don't remember this iteration of the character, she's absolutely nuts, and it's the kind of RPG you want to play where you just put all your points into weather manipulation. And if you think about it, she's the perfect character to double as Thor as well. And in the comics, the artwork and the storyline was always amazing. I'm truly hoping that Marvel Studios can find a way, if they choose to do the Thor Corps already and introduce us to all these awesome Thors, really using a blanket explainer in the multiverse and not really having to delve in to the origin of each, that they'll go ahead and use her character in this instance, because really there's not many other opportunities to use Storm as Thor, and I can't think of another better way to bring this into the MCU than if done this way. And if they're going to do it already, this may be the only opportunity they have. Now it may be jumping the gun just a bit, and I do have to admit this would be something akin to seeing Captain America wielding Mjolnir before ever we get the character Captain America, as well as knowing that the X-Men are being pushed off as far as possible. They're going to want to do those characters right and do them justice. It's impossible they're going to show us Storm as Thor before we ever get the character in the MCU, but one can dream. And if there's any validity to this plot leak, then we are going to see that character. Maybe it'll be a very slight Easter egg. She'll be buried in the back of Thor Corps somewhere, and we'll have to try to spot her. Now quickly, in conclusion to this video, we're going to run over a separate plot leak that hit the internet for Thor 4 Love and Thunder. For the record, I don't think there's much validity to this one at all, but since it ran in close proximity to this story that I wanted to run, it makes sense to run it for you guys. As I've always said in the past, remember to take everything with a grain of salt, and as spoilers start to hit the internet in the form of plot leaks, be looking for that fan fiction. People just try to take all the details they've already learned, conflate it with what they think is going to happen, and try to write a believable plot leak. Not saying that's what's happening here, but just stay skeptical, and let's read over this real quick. Christian Bale is playing the main villain Gorr. In this version, Gorr is an alien whose race was slaughtered by Hela. He blames the Asgardians, and after years of searching, retrieved the Necrosword to wipe them out. Thor is having intergalactic adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy when Gorr attacks and wounds him, then announces he will kill the remaining Asgardians on Earth. Thor goes there to protect them with Rocket and Groot, and that's when I started ruling out this plot leak as legit, as that sounded like not just poor writing, but a really bad rehashing. Thor can't find Gorr, so he's forced to ask Jane Foster for help. I don't think that's something he would do anyway. Gorr's sword is powered by dark energy, and Jane might be able to trace it. Jane is now working for SWORD, and director Abigail Brand is not happy when Thor shows up needing help. Thor, Jane, and Brand go to New Asgard, where they reunite with Valkyrie and time-displaced Loki, who ends up a prisoner there after whatever happens on his spin-off series. Along with Loki is a new time-displaced Mjolnir that doesn't answer to Thor because it's under a different spell. Gorr tricked Thor into leading him to New Asgard and destroys it with his army of shadow berserkers. During the chaos, Jane wields Mjolnir and fends off Gorr for the time being. Brand places the Asgardians under SWORD's protection at an outpost near a small town in Oklahoma. Thor trains Jane to control Mjolnir, and they connect. Valkyrie and Brand also develop a bond, and I will say that there was a version of New Asgard that did get set up in the Midwest, not just Norway, so this does kind of make sense in that one respect. Loki escapes and joins forces with Gorr to use Jane's research on dark energy to harness it through the Necrosword and defeat Thor. Dark energy has time-altering properties that Loki wants. All leads to major battle between Thor and Jane against Gorr across time and space, while Valkyrie and Brand lead the Asgardians and SWORD in battle against the Shadow Berserkers to defend humanity. That sounds insane. During the battle, Rocket and Groot must deal with the dark energy singularity that Gorr creates before it consumes the planet and Loki pursues his own agenda. Gorr will be mocap, but his pre-Necrosword form is going to be human-looking. The dark energy mutates him and becomes more monstrous as he absorbs more of it. And the last spoiler in this plot leak, if there really is any validity to this at all, and it sounds a lot more like fan fiction than someone who's actually read the script, is that Gorr is going to kill either Korg or Meek during the attack on New Asgard. And like I said, there's a lot of these that are going to come out. People are just going to rehash all of the leaks that we've gotten before, but the only two things I liked about this was perhaps moving Asgard to the middle of Oklahoma to protect it because someone's trying to destroy it like Gorr, and also that they would be fighting across time and space in an all-out battle. That would lead to something like the multiverse and getting to see all these versions of Thor. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments below about all of this, specifically the appearance of Thor Corps, how you would feel about that, and if you're ultra hyped for something like Beta Ray Bill or the Storm version of Thor. Let me know what you think down below, and quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. We're still giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, the next of which is at the 650,000 subscriber mark. We're headlong into that, could easily hit that by month's end or next. All you have to do to be entered to win, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and that'll automatically enter you to win all the rest of the prizes we're giving away here at the channel, like the limited edition Infinity Saga box set. We gave the first one away on New Year's Eve. We'll be giving the second one away on the 2nd anniversary of the channel in the end of April. If you want to be entered to win either of the PlayStations, the limited edition Infinity Saga box set, or any of the other prizes we give away here at the channel, including tickets to see all of the upcoming Marvel and Marvel adjacent movies, DVDs, and a whole bunch of other stuff, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell with notifications turned on, leave a like and a comment on this video, and because it's truly random, the more videos you like and comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, and if you've missed any of those past announcements, especially real recently, no worries. All you have to do is scroll back through the channel, look for the winner announcement in the sub count in the title, click on that video and scroll to the end. My name is Michael Roman. This is Everything Always, guys. Thanks so much for checking out the channel, and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.